Welcome back, Sculldog Radio. All right, I wanted to do a quick show in regards to what's going on with the Cubs. A lot of really, really fun stuff is going on. The biggest thing that happened, Kris Bryant has finally been promoted to AAA Iowa. This did take way longer than I thought. He just won the home run derby. He is winning the Triple Crown in AA. He's batting .355. He's got 22 homers. He's done everything he's supposed to do. So finally, they have promoted him to AAA. He was not in today's lineup. However, I assume he will be in tomorrow's lineup. Huge news with Javier Baez already there. You have Kris Bryant and Javier Baez, which that tandem is going to be super exciting to watch. Baez is continuing to struggle a little bit. He is 0 for 2 today. He's got 2 strikeouts. He's hitting .217 on the season. However, he does have 11 home runs. He's had a little bit of a transition, there's no doubt. He went from the AA to AAA. Somewhat disappointed, I believe, coming out of spring training. With a huge spring training, he may have, in the back of his head, thought he would make the team. However, in retrospect, I think it was a good move putting him at AAA, letting him learn, the game a little more. He's still very, very young. He's 21. He came out of high school with no college experience. So I like the move. Keep him at AAA. Bring him up in September. Give him a little taste of the majors. And then next season, let's see how he does in spring, and maybe he makes the team coming out of spring training. And then with Kris Bryant, you have a guy who is dominated at every level. He has not struggled whatsoever. So you're probably looking at AAA. I'm assuming he will dominate again. And then you bring him up as well in September, and then coming out of spring training, essentially you'll have Kris Bryant and Javier Baez both making the team. So that's what's going on with those two. Now, at Daytona, you have Albert Almora, which is an interesting guy. He is struggling a bit. He has tempered off a little bit. He's batting .241. He's got 2 home runs. It's a little misleading because he is really, really fundamentally sound in the field. He's a great center fielder. I think he's probably a little more, he's not quite ready. He's going to need at least a couple more seasons. You're probably looking at, as opposed to 2015, probably, in my opinion, more like 2017 before you see him. You'd see him hopefully at AA at the end of the season, and then AAA next season, and then with the Cubs the following season. That would be the progression that I would see him. Now, we do have a little bit of other really exciting news. The Cubs drafted a guy. They had the 4th overall draft pick in this season's draft, and I was thinking pitcher. Go with the pitcher, the best pitcher. Well, they did not do that, and then not only did they not pick a pitcher, they kind of had a very surprise pick in Kyle Schwarber. This guy's a catcher. He was tagged as probably the 15th or 16th pick in the draft. The Cubs drafted him number 4, and I was a little upset with the pick because I felt as though they were kind of going cheap with him, because the way it works is if they draft him, they pay him very little money, then they can afford to overpay some of the other picks that later in the draft, which may want to go to college as opposed to pro, and then they could kind of throw them a little bit more money to make them want to come pro more. Anyway, this guy looks like he's for real. I know he's only played at Boise, but in 5 games, he has 4 home runs. He's hitting .600. Cubs promoted him just today to King County Cougars, which is A. So he went from rookie ball to A in 5 games. Now, what's really cool about this is King County Cougars is right down the street from where I live, so I can go to his games and potentially get his autograph, like I did last year with Almora. But even more exciting is his progression so quickly going to King County. Here's a guy who's 22 years old. He played college at Indiana. He has seasoning in him. You may see him go to Daytona before the season's over, and then next season he could go to Tennessee, just like Kris Bryant started with Tennessee, and then if he dominated Tennessee, he could end up in AAA, and you may even see him in the majors next season. So that is really exciting news, especially since he was projected as the 14th pick, and he went number 4. Cubs seem to know what they're doing with these picks. They take a guy like Kyle Schwarber. Not many people have the high ceiling on him. They know what they're doing. They project him as the best hitter in the draft. He's a catcher and he's a left-handed hitter. Those two things the Cubs don't have a lot of in their farm system. Great pick so far. Looks like, once again, they know what they're doing. They're building the system correctly. Things are looking really, really promising in the minor leagues for the Cubs. Now, you're probably asking what's going on with Jeff Samardzija. Jeff Samardzija, once again, has been on the trading block for quite some time, really since the season started. And now the Cubs were opening talks with him once again, trying to get a feel for what exactly he's looking for. My personal opinion is they will not sign him to a long-term deal. I think they're using this as leverage to make other teams kind of bite on him and really push forward with him immediately, because Samardzija has a history of starting off very, very fast and then slowing down and eventually getting to an average. After the season's over, he's got average stats because he starts off so strong and then kind of tampers off. So I think you'll see that once again with Samardzija, and the Cubs would prefer to trade him while the going's getting good, which right now he's, despite having a very poor record, he only has 1 win. His ERA is still below 3. He's still looking dominating. He's still a power pitcher, and he's got a lot of value. So what I think they're doing is they're trying to persuade other teams to hurry up and send some prospects our way to get him. That being the case, I mean, you're looking at last season we traded Matt Garza and we got C.J. Edwards, we got Mike Olt, which were some pretty significant prospects from the Rangers. This season, I think Samardzija has more upside than Matt Garza. First of all, he's younger. I think he's perceived as a better pitcher. We may end up with 3 really good prospects, hopefully all pitchers. And they may be guys that are, AA and even maybe a AAA guy who's very close to the majors, which would be really, really beneficial. So I'm super excited what's going on with the Cubs. I mean, obviously their record is not exactly the best, but if you look beyond this season and you look long term, things are really looking promising. There are a couple things, though, that I'm a little concerned with. Number 1 is Jorge Soler. He has not been able to get on the field like we would hope. He only has 12 at-bats this season, and last season he was hurt most of the year. This is a guy who's 22 years old. He's at Tennessee AA. He has hardly any experience. He's probably going to end up in the minors till he's 24 or 25. And because they signed him to a 7 or 8 year deal. He may be 4 or 5 years into the deal before he even reaches the majors, or if he reaches the majors. So this is a guy we really don't know what we have yet. He has to get out on the field and show us what's going on. So there is a little bit of concern with him. C.J. Edwards, on the other hand, is hurt also, but I think he'll be back very shortly, and he's had a little bit more experience. I'm not so concerned with him. But Jorge Soler, I'm starting to get a little concerned with. He has, for being such a physically built guy, he's having a lot of injury issues. Hopefully those will be put to rest very soon. He can get out on the field. Now, just the Cubs did win today. They won 6-1 to the Marlins. Their record now is 30-40. Like I said, they're playing much, much better. They're 5th in their division as of right now. They're the 3rd worst team in baseball, as opposed to being the worst for most of the season. My prediction, I'm going to go ahead and predict it. I think the Cubs will end up a 500 team this year. I really do. They'll trade Samardzija. They'll get some prospects, so that'll hurt them a little bit, and they'll probably trade a couple other guys in the team, but they'll bring up some younger guys, and I feel they have the talent on the team now. As long as Castro and Rizzo continue what they're doing, Olt comes around, Bonifacio gets healthy as he was put on the DL recently. They have the talent. They have the team. They should be a 500 team. There's no reason they need to lose 100 games this year. They have enough talent on this team to be 500. And then next season, you should see, I would say Kris Bryant will definitely be on the opening roster, and Baez has a very strong possibility of being on the opening day roster, which leaves you, you got one heck of a lineup. If you got Baez in there, you got Kris Bryant in there, you got Castro in there, you got Rizzo in there. Those are 4 legitimate hitters that could, any of them hit 30 home runs, and Castro has potential, obviously, to hit over 300. He's already done it. Kris Bryant has potential to hit over 300. I view Baez as more like a 270, 280 hitter with 30 homers. And then Rizzo, another guy who's 280, 290 with 30 to 40 homers. This team starts getting very interesting starting next season. So they go 500 this year. Next season, they may be in that hunt. I'm not saying they'll make the playoffs, but they certainly should be in the hunt. And then the following season, they really could push for playoffs, considering Bryant and Baez have a year under their belt. And then you have Castro and Rizzo in their prime. I fully expect them to, if not make the playoffs next season, the following season. So there's a lot of really, really positive news going on with the Cubs. I just wanted to share that with everyone. And Sculldog Radio out.